it's Mike coming at you with another Planet Coaster Park Spotlight. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the video and welcome to your venture created by RamonesW. Now, this is the second park that I've spotlighted by Ramones. The last one I had Tommy P join me, and that was for Melee Park that we spotlighted. Oh, I can't even remember when it was. It must have been about 8 months ago now. It was a fair while ago. But if I'm doing another park by Ramones, I need another special guest again. Now, there are some that say that he actually has Bill Gates on speed dial just to help push his videos. It's the only way I can explain how he's grown so quickly. I have the one, the only, the amazing Corvus. How are you doing, Corvus?
What an intro, thank you.
I'm still to this day confused as to how you've grown so quickly. I mean, it's totally deserved. Your content is absolutely amazing and you deserve all the recognition and praise and subs that you're getting. Today's park is a PlayStation 4 park and we've got quite a long description here. So it says, welcome to your venture, a picturesque park located in the heart of North Barent, the Netherlands. The park is named after my second son, Jora. So that's really nice. So the last park, the Melee Park, was actually named after his son as well. So I think it's beautiful that he's named both of his parks after his children. But during your visit to your venture, you will enter various themed areas, including a typical Dutch street scene, where an intimate boat trip takes you through the exciting time of the BOC. A haunted house with a ride from ETF ride systems is also located here. Also, don't shy away from the Viking themed area, where various thrill rides are located, including a Vekoma family boomarang and a GCI wooden coaster. The wing coaster of B&M is located in Moorish, Spain. If you have a huge appetite, don't forget to go to Bistro Cash Bar. And in China, you can take a dizzying ride on the MACK spinning coaster. In addition, there are plenty of attractions for young and old. If you want to stay longer, you can still book an overnight stay in our park hotel. Have fun in your venture. Don't forget to check out the dark rides in the night mode, and the park can be visited in both day and night. See, I said it was a long intro. I wasn't kidding, was I? Right, shall we do this, Corvus? Shall we get into this park?
That sounds incredible, can't wait.
Do it, shall we? Right, so Corvus, here we are in the main park, in a PlayStation 4 park. So, am I right in saying that this is not your first experience with a PlayStation park?
No, it's not. I've looked around a few on Michael's channel before, done a few spotlights with him. I just wish the game was cross-platform. You get so many amazing parks on PlayStation that on Xbox you just don't get access to.
Oh, that would be... I'll tell you what, it would make my life way easier. Believe me, it would make my life so much easier when I'm having to do Xbox spotlights, because I'm having to do yours coming up soon as well. Yours is on my list, and I know that Flooded Tombs and Bertie have got a new Xbox park coming up as well that I need to spotlight, and the Xbox spotlights are a lot harder than these PlayStation ones. But anyway, getting completely sidetracked, I love all this outside. The fact that this is PlayStation 4 and he's still done all the road system, he's done all this car park, lovely nice 3D sign there as well. Just to go past. Look at this, Corvus. This is ace.
You know what I'm like with realism? Car parks are great, but my eyes are on that coaster at the moment.
Oh, for crying out loud, Corvus. I should have known. I should have known when I invited you onto the channel. It was just going to be like when I'm with Michael. I'm there like kind of looking at the foliage and looking at the paint tool and the water features, and Michael's like, ooh, coaster.
Yep, I'm exactly the
same. Look at this hotel, though.
Beautiful looking hotel.
That is absolutely fantastic. It's so beautiful. And then we've got a swimming pool just next to it. And the fact as well, what really impresses me is the fact that all this has been done on a PlayStation 4. When you don't tend to see things like this, like your exteriors, your car parks, your road layouts, your hotels on last-gen consoles, just because of the limitation of the piece count. So the fact that Ramon has been able to do this, I think is absolutely fantastic.
Say, I'm on, when I do console parks, I'm on the Xbox Series X, which is the current gen, and even when I did my previous park, I was still nearly getting 100%. It's so difficult to cut back on pieces when you want to.
It really is, but this park is very, very good at making it look really full and detailed, but the entire piece count is only 23,000 pieces, which isn't too excessive, really, certainly compared to a lot of other parks that I've seen. But when you think 23,000 pieces and then you see the amount of detail it's gone to, even like these shutter windows as well, then windows are not just one piece. That's like 4 or 5 pieces just for a window effect. And it's little things like that. Impressive. That really add to it as well. I believe he must have done a lot of the pathing on a grid in this park. He must have done to have been able to put so much into it.
Yeah, putting it on a grid reduces it by so much percent, doesn't it? I can't remember, but it's a really useful tool to use.
Yeah, massively, massively. But I love this Corvus as we come here. Now, this will be the second, either the second time, it may be the first time or the second time people have seen this design. Now, I spotlighted another park that I did with Poetry Slam 78, Worlds Apart. Now, the original creation was this one. Ramones did do the original creation, and then Robert actually used this creation in his park as well. So you will have seen this before, but I love that design. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So unique.
I really like when people put like floor murals onto like plazas, but that one's just really, really good.
I mean, it
Especially
makes
with
me
the
think
like,
of
park
Planet
logo on
Plipcam.
it as well.
Makes me think of Planet Plipcam because he does things like that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And as we come down here towards the main entrance, we've got some special guests. So we've got MJ Games, Diamond Eye, Iron Matty, and Scott Boogie Gaming. Hang on, that's not right. There we go. And Corvus.
I was going to say, if you're a special guest, does that mean you can get me in for free?
Yeah, I just brought you in as a +1. I did not do any editing there whatsoever. That was completely tactful, and it just appeared out of nowhere.
It's magic.
But I love this entrance.
That is a very nice entrance. I really like all the details on the edges of the roofs as well.
It's the picture hangings, isn't it, that is used?
There's so many pieces in this game that I just haven't, unless I'm doing tours like this, I just don't know they exist. I really need to broaden my range a bit, but I really like the design of this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Very modern. Very sleek and modern and clean. Here we go. We come through into the park itself, and just look at this for opening plaza, an opening shot of the park. Just really wide and expansive, colourful, bright, lots to see. You can already see lots to do.
Something about having a flat ride that's central to a plaza that I just absolutely love.
Agreed.
It's like a nice little like picture point when you come into the park. It just really sets the tone.
I love all this flooring as well, just all the different style of floor. So we've got the bricks, and then we've also got the concrete, and it really does like break up that floor. But we've got a ride instantly. Now this is a dark ride, so I had to swap it to night quickly. And let's have a walk down this queue path, shall we? Now, as always, with having a special guest on, especially not one that is PlayStation, this is a pre-recorded video. Well, I imagine you'd already guessed that with the fact that I'd had that editing a second ago. So this is a pre-recorded video. So, but this is first time for Corvus.
Really like this indoor queue line. It's something I really want to work on more. I think especially in my next park, I'll be doing a lot of indoor queue lines because they're just so immersive. Like all the flames covered by the wood on the ceiling is really clever.
I've never seen anyone do that before, flames above the wood. Doesn't look very safe.
It's Planet Coaster, not many of the things do.
Well, a fantastic queue line, really immersive, telling a story as you come down this queue. And I had no idea what this was, because I hadn't read the description before I filmed this park. So I had absolutely no idea what this was, and it turns out to be a boat ride.
I love the star cloth above like all the buildings. It reminds me of like the inside of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in the Disney parks.
And you see that in that ride like this. A lot of rides in Planet Coaster are inspired by that, aren't they, as well? Like especially these water rides. But a lovely station, just beautiful in here.
It is
Absolutely
really
beautiful.
nice.
But anyway, here we go. First ride of the park as a boat ride. Let's do it. Enjoy, everybody. So there we go, Corvus, our first ride of the park. So what were your thoughts on that?
I really liked it. There was a few little like clipping issues with some of the pieces like coming through into the water trough and maybe clipping the side of the boat, but I really liked how there was some parts of it that were like a lot more narrow and claustrophobic than some really open parts. It made like a really dynamic ride. I liked it.
Yeah, very well themed, very well lit all the way around, really interactive, and a great ride. It really was. Lots to see, lots to do. I liked all the sounds that were going on in the set pieces that you had, and I just love this station. I absolutely love this station. It's just beautifully done. And I hadn't even noticed before we'd gone on the ride that you've got all these other boats on the other side. So when it is a busier day, you'd just be able to transfer them over to the other side. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic and a great first ride at the park. Very unusual to go on a boat ride as a first ride. Normally it's some type of coaster, so to go on one of these first, very unusual. But yeah, great job. Really enjoyed that. So let's go and find the exit, which is just down here.
Lighting inside the building's really nice as well. Very atmospheric.
Yeah, very well done with the lighting. The lighting throughout the entire park is really beautiful, and you'll see that as we go through the video and a little bit later on. Well, let's just very quickly swap that back to day, and let's carry on, shall we?
That view across the water is very nice.
Beautiful. It's across water, so of course I like it.
You love your water.
I do love my water features.
If you ever start to release merch, you should put that on.
The plan is that I may be doing next year. I'm kind of thinking January of next year I might actually start, maybe just with some mugs or some t-shirts or something.
That'd be very
and
cool.
A water feature will have to be on one of them. Well, there we go. We've just hopped out to the exit. Let's just hop around just so we can see some of the detailing that you've done here. And just all them buildings just up there looks very picturesque, very Eastern European.
It reminds me of like the streets of like Amsterdam.
Yes.
With all the really thin buildings.
Yeah. And what I especially loved as well, which is why I had to zoom up to the top, is that all of this on the front is just one big facade as well. And then all that dark ride that takes place inside. So very much like your haunted house at Alton Towers or any other like dark ride where they're very well themed on the front. But then that's all it is. It's just one big facade. And then if you looked from above, it's just a big warehouse. So, yeah, great immersion, great realism for that aspect. Look at all the paint tool, Corvus! There's paint tool everywhere!
I was just looking at all the vegetation. Like, I think that's probably one of my favourite things when I go to parks in real life, like Alton Towers. I love how there's that much like trees and foliage everywhere, and it kind of like blocks certain views of the ride. So the areas that you're in just feel that much more immersive.
100%. I mean, especially when you go into Alton Towers Gardens, which is smack bang for anybody that's never been to Alton Towers. Alton Towers has gardens, which is in the middle of the park. You go in the middle of them gardens, you've got no idea you're in a theme park. You haven't got a clue, have you?
I've been lost in those quite a few times.
Same. Yeah, I got lost in there a couple of times. Me and my friends used to go when I was younger, and we used to play hide and seek in there. Times. I'm a bit too old to do that now, unfortunately. But I love all these flat rides in here. So we've got obviously the two carousels, we've got the swing, the chairplane, just fantastic.
It's kind of almost for me like hinting at like the history of the park. Like maybe it could have just started off with these few flat rides in the centre and they've like expanded out into different areas. It's like a nice vintage feel with them.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that and a lot of parks do start out in that manner as well, don't they? They just have their old couple flat rides, and then, like you said, they expand. I mean, that's how a lot of the UK theme parks started, wasn't it? It was just a couple of flat rides, a carousel, maybe a Ferris wheel, and then just expanded as time went on. And as they got brought out by the big companies, just expanded into their white knuckle rides. Love this custom door here with the wooden beams.
Oh yeah, really like that. Custom handles on it.
Custom handles, custom beams just making up the door. It's fantastic. But here we go.
Lovely food unit there as well.
Pardon?
Lovely food unit on the left, like with all the lanterns around it and stuff.
Yeah, it's just everything is just so immersive. You feel so engrossed in this park. It feels real. It feels like a genuine place.
Yeah, it feels like, it's almost like quite cozy, isn't it? Like that Central Plaza. It's like a nice, calming part of the park to be in.
It's a nice. It feels like a nice, chilled place to be, doesn't it? You feel like relaxing at home and not too on edge here. And I just love this little walkway here. You've got the train. Maybe just a little bit of safety. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe even if it was just a little fence or something. I don't know. But I like the fact that the train runs parallel.
I think that could help.
We've got all the signs. So we've got Donor, Jotun, Jotunheim just down here. And we come over here and we have our first coaster. So here is the wooden coaster that you were admiring when we were in the car park.
This looks incredible. I'm not going to pronounce the name because with my last park series, I'm sure if anyone's watched that, I am awful at pronouncing foreign names.
I'm not much better myself, to be honest. I like how...
I just love the whole woodland vibe of it.
Yes, I like how it comes over that bridge straight into the queue line. It's like this one little section here is very much this ride only. There's no shop, there's no other path. It is literally you come over the bridge and that is the queue path. That is it. This little section of the park is dedicated for this one sole ride only. And you've got the water on your right, just there. You've got the coaster on your left. It feels like kind of you're walking down and there's no escape, but in a good way.
Must be one good coastal.
Really nice station.
All the buildings around this area is amazing.
Great use. Great choice of what wood to use as well, because it really blends in with everything that's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
But here we go. So first actual coaster of the park. So let's just have a quick look at the stats of that. So we have Donor. So we have green across the board. G-Force is really nice as well. So first ride of the park. Let's do it. Enjoy, everyone. So there we go. We have Donor. Really nice ride. Maybe just could have done with a tiny little bit of smoothing, but not too much. I like the out and back feel of it as well. Really kind of like keeping itself quite compact. And then the sight line that it gives just as it goes up the top, looking over the park, looking over the park entrance. Absolutely fantastic. Really nicely done. Little bit of clipping just with some of the trees and bushes coming through. Maybe just move them back ever so slightly, but other than that, great job. Really well done. Corvus, what did you think?
I really liked it. I think it's quite clear to see the inspiration from, there's a GCI at Europa Park called Woden Timber Coaster. It really reminds me of that, and some of the, I assume this is a GCI, but some of the transitions are pretty spot on for the coaster.
See, this is why I have people like Corvus on the channel, because he starts sprouting out coaster knowledge, and I'm like, yep. Yeah, I'll agree with you. I mean, just as we were on the ride a second ago, Corvus was saying like, oh, I think it reminds me of this ride. And I'm like, I'm just sat there nodding like, yep, yeah, I know exactly what you're on about. Yeah, that one over there. Yeah, I know. One day, Corvus, I'm going to learn. Do you know what? One day, I'm going to like sit down and I'm going to learn all about coasters and like where they are and everything. I don't know where you were master's kind of knowledge.
Should do like a big coaster quiz.
I should. Maybe you should do that on your channel, like a big coaster quiz. Like an interactive on live stream coaster quiz.
That's a
I think that's quite a good idea. I wish I'd not told you now. To be fair, I need to come on to it because I need to learn myself. But anyway, we're getting completely sidetracked. So let's carry on down here, and we now really start entering the Viking area. So we have the shop Valhalla, which of course was where all Vikings go, or where they believe they go when they die. Like if they die an honourable death and everything, they would go to Valhalla. And all round here is just all Viking based.
No, I'd love to know more about the mythology and stuff, but I think my kind of knowledge just extends to the Thor Marvel films.
Well, we have Jotun, which is a... can't remember what Jotun is, but we have Jotunheim, which is Jotungard, which is a giant serpent. I believe Jotun is like kind of a spiritual place or something, if memory serves me correctly. But Jotungard is like a giant serpent. So, but we've got a flat ride around here. So a quick walk down the queue line, because I know a lot of these queue paths are all themed as well. Even the flat rides, which are always nice to see. A lot of people don't always take the time to decorate their flat ride skins, or skins, queue lines even, I'm sorry.
It's incredible. I know what this one's inspired by, definitely. It's the Huss top spin at Phantasialand called Talakan.
What a show off. Nobody likes a know-it-all, Corvus.
It's not
Nobody likes smart art.
Not the most enjoyable ride. It gave me like a headache for like 3 hours after, but it looks stunning from off-road.
I always kind of like think of it like Ripsaw from Alton Towers. I used to love that ride. I absolutely love Ripsaw.
Oh yeah, it's the same model. Yeah.
I used to really like that. But
I never went on it. Wasn't ever there when I think the first time I went to Alton Towers was like a couple of years after it closed.
I didn't even realise it'd gone. Well, go figure. I didn't even know it was gone.
Oh yeah, it's been gone years.
That goes to show how long it's been since I last went then. I haven't been for about 11 years. Bearing in mind, I used to work there for 5 years. So I went on it all the time. Like kind of before I'd start work, if I was on like starting at 12 o'clock, I'd like rock up at 9 o'clock in the morning and just go around the park and go on the rides and everything before I started work.
That sounds great. That'd be the kind of thing I'd do.
But anyway, we have the next coaster. So we have the Boomarang coaster. So this is Jomengard, should I say? Not quite green across the board. The G-force is maybe slightly high, but a little bit trickier to do on a Boomarang. But let's go for a ride on this. Enjoy. So there we have Jomengard. So, Corvus, what did you think of that, mate?
Fantastic coaster. It reminded me a lot of a Vekoma boomerang called Rake at Phantasialand. It kind of interacts with the terrain of the Klugheim area the same that it does here as well, like by dipping in and out of like trenches and under the wooden beams and stuff. I really liked it.
I think it was a really good boomerang coaster, quite unique in the sense that you're going backwards first and everything, and like you said, going through the trenches, really nicely themed, all the paint all going around it. Yeah, great job. Really nice ride, very fitting with the theme of everything that you've got going on with the Vikings around here. Really enjoyed it. And as you just peek over the fence back here, we've got a little backstage area. So not only has he done the car park, he's done the hotel, but he's also thought about backstage areas as well. And again, it's just as what I was saying at the start of the video, stuff that you generally don't see on the last gen consoles. The fact that he's managed to get all these rides in, all this detail, and then still the car park, still the hotel, still the backstage areas, I think that's really commendable.
This whole area as a whole just feels very complete and like realistic. It's a really well formed area.
It is, and I believe every attraction and every shop and all the theming all fits into that Midgar like theming, the Viking area as well. It really kind of like blends together fantastically. But as we start leaving the Viking area, we now start heading over towards the Asian area. So we have the Sun Wukong, Shenyang, and the station over here. So let's just make sure that we're not going to get run over. No, we're okay. Go, run.
Glad that you didn't want me to pronounce those.
I love that ride, you know. If you're doing any kind of Asian themed area, you place that ride down and you're done. You don't even need to do anything else, do you?
It is a very nice themed ride. I do wish they added one into the game that wasn't like all themed up, so you had the option of 2, but I think that's probably one of the best themed rides that comes with the game.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. Well, it's so like theme specific, isn't it? You couldn't put that in a pirate park or anything else like that. It's very set in its theme, like the Magic Carpet ride as well. It's so like locked to its theme.
Oh yeah.
But look at this area.
This area is beautiful.
The only thing I maybe would have liked to have seen is maybe some like pink trees or something like that. Maybe just make it feel a little bit more oriental, possibly.
I was thinking in terms, I don't know how you do this with piece count, but maybe put in some lights or lanterns, maybe strung between the trees.
Yeah, that could work. I mean, you say that, but as we walk down the queue in a second, we have lanterns that go over the queue line as we go down. Already thought of it. It's just that good. This is a beautiful themed queue line as well. And it's very much, we are jumping from coaster to coaster at the moment. With it being a relatively small park, it is very much just going from one attraction to the next. I mean, it's not a massively long spotlight. It's only 40 minutes, but we kind of like just do go from attraction to attraction. No, this is what you meant. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
look at this station.
Very good. It's so like, it's quite an imposing building as you're coming up to it, but from a distance it's so like nestled in with all the vegetation
100%
around it.
Agreed. And I didn't realise until I got here it was a spinning coaster either. But we have Shenlong, which I believe is a dragon. I might be wrong on that. People will probably let me know. G-forces are quite low as you would expect. So let's go for a ride on the spinning coaster. Enjoy. There we have Shenlong. Very nice little spinning coaster. Nice and compact, not too long. I think the spinning was really on point, not too excessive. Ride felt relatively smooth. Yeah, I would say that's a really good job. What did you think, Corvus?
Like you said about the spinning, it felt very controlled throughout the ride, because I know I've made, I think, only 2 spinning coasters in the past, and they're really difficult to make them not like they're not them spinning at about 1,000,000 miles an hour. So it was really well
I believe, and I've said this multiple times before in past spotlights, I believe that flying coasters and spinning coasters are probably the 2 most difficult rides that you can do in Planet Coaster. I mean, spinning coasters, you've got to take into consideration, not only have you got to make the ride a nice layout, nice and smooth, but then you also need to factor in that spin as well, and you need to make it feel genuine and authentic and not like you're going to get whiplash on it. So yeah, great job with that. Only a nice little small area, this one. We just have the 2 rides, so we just had that one ride there and then the other flat ride, and then that's it. We come out of the Asian area straight away into a different area again. So we come around here. I did have to have a look down here. I was like, we've got a roped off path, and curiosity got the better of me. I had to have a look. I do.
Love a bit of backstage.
It just takes you off to this little backstage area here, which is next to another dark ride, which we will go on towards the end of the spotlight. So let's just come back here. As you were saying earlier on, I love all the foliage around here.
Oh yeah, it's like around the entire park, and it really like kind of, I don't know, like unifies the park. It's like consistent throughout all of it.
I love this here. Just with a little custom wall and then all the hedges just going around this fountain. Really big.
Kind of almost makes this area into like its own little plaza.
Yeah,
it's nice.
And there's nothing here except for some shops and the train station. That, what I was saying earlier on about the path, he's done that throughout the entire park as well. So I don't believe at any point really in the park you've got just one set path. You've always got the brick texture and the concrete texture as well, and it just really breaks it up. It makes it feel wider. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I really like it when creators like take the time to be consistent with like certain design elements throughout the whole park. It really makes a difference.
Beautifully themed pirate ship flat ride there with all the houses just set at the back. Feels very Mexican, like Tunisian or something like that.
I just like having it all. It's like different layers and how you can actually, when you're in the queue, like going between them all and everything. It's
again,
really nice.
We've already said it a couple of times, interactive, isn't it? But we're coming down to what will end up being the final coaster of the park. So we have the Bistro Kebab, there. Now, I don't believe it was decorated inside. I didn't actually go in, I forgot. Normally I do. Normally I always go and check in every interior, but I forgot, I'm sorry. So if that was decorated, I apologise. Got one of the sun tower dial type drop tower thingies, similar-ish. I believe this on the right here, I think that is Tommy P's. I believe that's a workshop item, Tommy P's. I might be wrong in that, but I think so.
Fits into the area well, though. It's a nice little, is it a food unit? But I really liked it.
And we go from the spinning coaster to a flying coaster. Two of the more tricky rides to build in the game. I'm sure that you will have a lot of feedback for this one, like kind of how they're supposed to be in real life and everything, because I'm not really familiar with the inner workings of flying coasters and how they're supposed to work. What?
I think, is it this one's a B&M wing coaster? I've only ever tried to make a couple off camera. I've never made one for a park because they're just so difficult to get right.
Very tricky. I love this queue line.
Oh yeah,
the trickling
really
water.
Nice.
Wood feature.
Wood feature for you there. I like the changing elevations in the queue line as well. It's like you're building up
not
to
cattle
approaching
pen
the ride.
Always nice to see. And then we've got just... It's just simple and effective, isn't it? It fits the theme of the area. But here we go. So let's just have a quick look at the stats for this one. I don't know where I was going with the camera here. I don't even know what I was doing. So we have a Gala. Not quite green across the board. And the G-forces maybe slightly high. So let's go for a ride on this. Enjoy. So there we go, the final coaster of the park. What did you think of that, Corvus?
I really like the idea of it. There's a few things that could be improved, but the general layout of it, and especially the speed that it carries through, is pretty good. I think the main thing I'd improve with it would be to just reduce the height of the first drop and the first inversion. So I think just taking that layout a little bit slower, smoothing certain bits, and it could be like a really perfect coaster
I
for
would
the area.
100% agree with that. I believe the initial climb was like really building up, and then the first drop I think was fantastic, but maybe just a little bit too high. And then this inversion right now that we're looking at just on this left-hand side of the screen, I think that inversion went up too high, which meant it then carried too much speed coming down around over the lake, and then coming up into that like final quarter of the ride was just a little bit too quick. And to be honest, I think I would just put the one car on rather than the two, because it slammed the brakes on, but I think it only slammed the brakes on because there's two cars and it was waiting for the other one to get out of the station. Whereas if it was just the one ride, I believe it would have come in a little bit smoother as well. But other than that, yeah, slow it down a little bit, maybe just lower the first drop, maybe lower the inversion, and I think you're onto a winner there. I think that'd be fantastic. But there we go. Right, so let's find the exit. So we have one more dark ride left to go on, and then what I think we'll do, I say what I think we'll do, I've already pre-recorded this, I know exactly what's coming, is what we'll do is we'll go for a ride on the train while we give some closing thoughts. So just as the train goes past there. Just over the bridge.
I think after seeing this area as a whole as well, especially with the colour scheme, that coaster was a pretty perfect choice.
I would agree with that. Yeah, 100% agree with that. Really fit. I think everything in the park fits its purpose, doesn't it? Nothing feels out of place or wrong. I don't believe any ride choice was the wrong one. But let's.
I just love walking through these covered areas with the trees. I know we keep saying it, but it's so like it's not claustrophobic, but more like cozy.
Immersive. It makes you like kind of really feel in the park, doesn't it? I love this. It doesn't even feel like the same park. It doesn't feel like Planet Coaster. It looks like I'm looking at a fancy house or something. It feels like this was like a listed building that was there before the park was ever even built. Almost like Hex, like with the and then they just built a ride inside it. And this is an extremely short ride, so let's go on, enjoy. Now, if I was being perfectly honest, I'm not sure that this ride is needed, if I was being 100% honest with myself. I think it's a little bit too short. I don't think it really fits the purpose of the park, and it feels a little bit out of place in the park. I think you could have maybe just done away with this and have the outside of the building almost as a facade, maybe even done this as a restaurant or a hotel or something. I just think it would have been better than having this ride, and then maybe you could have just put a little bit more decoration around elsewhere, potentially. I don't know, maybe I'm just being overly critical. Corvus, what did you think?
I liked the ride for what it was. It was a nice little dark ride, but I kind of understand what you're on about, because the park for me almost feels like an adventure park with like all the different zones. So I don't know where the horror aspect comes into it, but I really like that if it is like an existing building that was already on the land before, reusing that into a ride.
I mean, keep really the building. 100% the building needed to stay because it was beautiful. It was a really nice set piece. I just don't think the ride inside it really fit, especially with how short it was as well. If you could delete that and then all the queue and everything that would go around it, that gives you 2% back. I mean, 2% goes a long way, doesn't it, in Planet Coaster? It really does, like kind of with detailing and things like that. But I thought I might as well keep it at night, just so we can have a bit of an overhead shot of the lighting of the park at night, and just beautiful lighting throughout.
The night lighting is really nice, especially on the wooden coaster as well. How it kind of had like almost an ombre effect. Started yellow at the bottom and was like icy white.
And then the B&M
just
lit up all blue as well. Yeah, beautifully lit. But what we'll do is we will just go and hop on the train quickly before we end the spotlight, and we can give out some closing thoughts. Corvus 3-word park review.
Oh, I haven't done one of these before. Very cozy I was going to say very cozy adventure park, but that's 4. Yeah, very cozy adventure.
We just ran over a couple of people. I will say Batman first. So that would be referring to Melee Park. I can really see the step up that you've taken between Melee Park and this one. I believe that you've learned a lot. I believe your coasters are a lot better, if I'm honest. When me and Tommy spotlighted your Melee Park, some of the feedback that we had was that the theming was amazing, the immersion was amazing, but it really did require some work. The last coaster in Melee Park in particular really did require quite a lot of work. So for that aspect, I can see how much you've evolved as a coaster creator. I think you've really stepped up your game. I think it was absolutely fantastic. Really beautifully done, just with all the foliage, all the use of the paint tool. I just think everything on the whole has improved. I think all the feedback that we had for Melee Park you've taken on board and brought into this park with you, and I can see that as well. Just absolutely amazing. Corvus, have you got any kind of like closing thoughts on the park of what you've seen today?
I'm just a sucker for parks that have like smaller themed areas. Like park-wide themes are always nice, but having smaller themed areas within a park is just something that I really like. So like I think the Viking area was definitely my favorite theme, but all the other areas like the Arabian and then the Asian, just all the themed areas worked really nicely standing alone, but also worked well like transitioning from one to another. So a really nice selection of
I always
rides as
love
well.
to
It's
see
a
when
great
you come
park.
into parks such as this that have got multiple themes, is how you do manage to transition from one to the other. And can you be standing in one part of the park and forget that the other side, like, it feels almost like a different park kind of thing. It's like you forget that not 5 minutes ago you were suddenly in a different themed area, and it kind of like blends seamlessly. And I believe that's what this park has really managed to achieve. It's like all the different themed areas complement each other, and they managed to feel like a different park, but in the same park. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does it really effectively.
But there we go. Anyway, there is the park. So yeah, what a park. Really enjoyed this one. Let me know down below in the comments what you all think. I'd love to know your thoughts on it as well. Hopefully you all enjoyed this one. Thank you ever so much, Corvus, as well, for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure having you along, especially with all of your coaster knowledge as well.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully you'll be back on the channel again soon. Well, we've already agreed earlier on that you will be back at some point for a project that I am currently working on in the future that will have more than just Corvus. There'll be a number of people involved. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel for that. I won't say any more than now. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm very excited for it. It's PlayStation.
It will be very good.
Xbox and PC people are going to be joining as well, so very excited for that. I won't say any more, but if you would like to have your park spotlighted, the Discord link will be up in that top corner right now. Make sure to go and give that a click, and make sure to come and join the Discord. Make sure to also to go and follow Corvus on his YouTube channel. Amazing content creator, 100% worthy of all the subs that he is gaining and the mass following that he's gotten recently. And I'll be back in a couple of days for another Planet Coaster Spotlight. Take care, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I will see you all in a couple of days. Say goodbye, Corvus. Bye.
Bye.